Well, I want to begin today talking about my Grandpa Stalter, my mother's father. After his second wife died, and she must have died when I was maybe 2 years old or something like that. I was pretty small. I don't remember her at all. But she came from Archbold, Ohio, and she and Grandpa never had children after they were married, but Grandpa already had 4 children by his first wife, and one of those had died. Anyway, so my mother was the second of that family. But I want to say, first of all, that Mom said that her stepmother was the best mother she could have ever had. That she taught her how to cook, how to clean, how to garden, how to do all the things that a wife needed to learn. And was very happy with her. Now Grandpa, he was a spry, happy person. But he decided after having had 2 wives he would not marry again. And I don't know exactly how old he would have been. If it would have been in his 40s maybe? I'm not sure. Anyway, he decided that. So he went to stay with his 3 living children, all of them in the Fisher, Illinois area, but each about 20 minutes from the other by car. And so he went to stay with one for 4 months or 6 months or something like that, and then he'd go to the next one. Well, after doing this, he made one circuit of that, and he decided he didn't like that. And so he decided that he would come and stay with Maddie, my mother, and her family. Mom cooked like his second wife cooked. My mother had a nice, pleasant personality also. And we had, I think, a pretty good family life as far as how we got along with everybody. We only had 4 bedrooms in our farmhouse. They were all upstairs. And so Grandpa got one of those, and my mom and Dad got one. And we 5 girls slept in another bedroom with 2 double beds in. And my 4 brothers, who were all older, they slept in the other bedroom, 2 double beds. But that was okay. Grandpa, he helped my father butcher and taught him how to butcher sheep, and helped around however he could to help, although he was definitely not the first person to get up in the morning, go out and milk the cows and all that. I don't remember him on a tractor or like that, but he could have. I don't know. I do remember that Grandpa liked to eat fruit. And in the spring, he could not wait for the cherries on our little cherry tree in the yard to fully get ripe. And he would put a stepladder up to the side of the tree, and he'd climb up on into the tree. And this was when he was retirement age already. And he would go on up into the branches because the ones at the top of the tree would be the ripest. And he would do that, and we would all say, "Grandpa, don't fall, don't fall." But he never did. And so I remember that about Grandpa. one other thing I remember about Grandpa, he must have early on tried to discipline us kids. And Mom told me later that she took him aside one day and said, "Dad, these are Emery and my children. We will discipline them. You have fun with them, and you're part of our family, but we will discipline," and he respected that. Then one other thing I remember about Grandpa is that if we would, in the evenings, we'd sometimes get out our 8-track tapes, and we'd have a sheet or something up, and I think later on we had a screen that we could put up. But anyway, while we would be sitting getting this set up, Grandpa, he would do with his fingers in the light and make shadows of different animals and stuff like that to entertain us, and that was always fun. He could do so many. He'd make rabbits, he'd make birds, he'd do all kinds of things that he had enjoyed doing that. Okay, that's probably enough about Grandpa. Oh, he did live with us for about 10 or 14 years, something like that. So he was still alive for a couple of years when I started Goshen College. And then, and Mom took care of him at home. That would have been in the Gibson City home, where he would have been bedfast for maybe a year or a year and a half. And he had diabetes and, I don't know, heart failure, I suppose. Anyway.
I never met him.
You never did. So he died when you were in college?
He died while I was in college, and so I didn't go home for the funeral at all. Because I had no car or nothing. So it would have been during either freshman or sophomore year. They moved to Gibson City, probably sophomore. They moved to Gibson City just a couple of weeks after I left for Goshen College as a freshman. So, I had mentioned that my 4 brothers were the oldest in the family of 9, which Dad was very happy about that, of course. And they all helped him work the farm. And I remember when I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, something like that, we would, in the fall, or no, in the late summer, we would have to walk the beans, we called it, the soybeans. And we'd each have a hoe, which they sharpened really good on their grinding wheel or whatever. And anyway, I was pretty small, and so we girls, we'd have 2 rows that we'd have to walk, and there'd be butter print, which was a weed with a cup kind of thing that had seeds in it. Well, we were supposed to do this before that would burst open and the seeds would all go all over. So that's what we did. And so I remember this one time, we hadn't been out there very long, and I missed hoeing the weed, and I caught my foot instead.
Oh.
And so it bled pretty good. But I don't remember that I had to go to the doctor for stitches or anything. But at least that was the end of my hoeing that day, and somebody else had to take my rows to finish out the time. But so we girls, we never did that very often unless it was something like that. that we had the men's work outside and we had the women's work inside in the yard and in the garden and the house. And so I never learned to drive a tractor or a truck. So, yeah.
But there were enough boys that
There were
and they
enough
were older
boys.
and bigger.
And if they needed another person, they'd always call my older sister, 3 years older than me, Fern.
Mm-hmm.
So she could drive the tractor, she could drive the Jeep, she could drive a pickup.
Mm-hmm.
But none of the rest of us girls were allowed to do that because they didn't need us. So I always felt sort of that I was missed out on something of that, living on a farm and so on. Okay, I thought I would start, I'm not sure if I talked about the things I did for fun when I was a kid. Anyway, I thought right away of riding the bicycle. And this bicycle was a real tall one, like for my older brother's bikes, a boy's bike. And I couldn't get on, and I was determined to ride this bicycle and learn how to ride it. And so I leaned it up against the side of the fence around the house, around our yard, and then I got on that way by the fence, and I could only ride it by standing up on it. And but I would ride and would go down our gravel road away from the house, and oh, I loved that because we didn't have a huge house for all 10 of us, 11 of us, and so we were always on top of each other, it seemed like. So that's what I liked to do, was to ride bike whenever I could get a chance. The other thing I did was to read books. And I'd get them from the school library or the church library. That's where I got my books. And whenever I got a chance, I'd go up into the bathroom and lock the door. That was the only room in the house that we could lock the door. And I would sit there on the toilet usually and read my books. And pretty soon somebody would come knocking on the door and, aren't you done yet? No, just about. And anyway, I'd be in there as long as I thought I dared to be in there and read my books.
I remember, did you do that while you were cooking at the stove too?
I did. When there were 5 of us girls, so by the time we got into school, Mom decided that we would each take one night a week to cook supper. And I don't remember which day of the week was my day, if it was, Wednesday or what, I don't know. But anyway, later, Milton always told me that whenever it was VIETTA's turn, we always knew we'd have goulash. And I could get my goulash going, and we had a 3-step stool that would be just level with the pan, and I'd have my book there, and I could stir the pan or watch the pan a little bit, but I'd read my books while I was cooking. And usually they didn't burn or like that it was okay. But I learned to cook for 12 people because by that time my grandpa was living with us. And so I didn't know anything about cooking for just 1 or 2, just for 12. But Mom taught us how to work in the garden. She taught us how to gather stuff, the green beans. We'd pick the green beans and the tomatoes and we'd can them. Or the peas, we'd always freeze the peas. But like, she would go to Champaign an hour away And while she was gone, why she'd tell Fern, well now Fern, you see that the girls help and get this and this and this done. So Fern was our boss whenever Mom was gone. And so Fern learned to really be in charge that way. But Mom would go to the Champaign and would go to the health food store and get the healthy food for our breakfast cereal in the morning, a cooked cereal, and different things. And she'd usually come home when it was time, the season, to bring like 4 bushels of peaches, or maybe 5 if she was lucky. That many peaches home, and when she'd come home, now girls, let's get busy. And so I remember going down into the basement, and we'd have a great big wash pan, great big one, and have water in it up 2/3 full. And so we girls would all be sitting around on little stools or on the floor or whatever, and each of us had a little paring knife, and we'd peel the peaches, and then we'd take the pit out, and then we'd put the peach into the water. And when it got enough peaches in the water, then I don't know if it was Mom or Fern or who it was that put these peaches in 2-quart jars. And I don't remember if we did any other canning in 2-quart jars, but otherwise I think it was quart jars. I don't remember ever doing anything in a pint. But anyway. When we first did green beans, Mom had 2 different cookers that would be big enough, which I then got later, to do 2-quart jars in. So we'd do or the quart jars, whichever. Quart jars you could get more in than the 2-quart jars. But the green beans, why, we would have to cook them for 4 hours in that water bath. We didn't know anything about the dangers of the botulism with green beans, cooking them that way, because that was the way you did it. And after we got married, then he said that it takes you too long to get things done, you need a pressure cooker. So I learned to operate the pressure cooker, and Mom had a small one just to do a pot roast or something like that in it, like a 2-quart pressure cooker, so I wasn't that afraid of a pressure cooker at that time. In high school home ec, I took home ec for 4 years and took the other classes that would be good for getting into college. Because I knew I wanted to go to college. I didn't want to do like some of my other girlfriends and get married right away and just live around home and be on a farm. I didn't want that. I didn't know exactly what I wanted, but there was a young lady from church who went to Puerto Rico as a missionary, and I sort of looked up to her and thought that would be something that I didn't know. Anyway, I knew that I wanted to go to Goshen to college, and my dad said, "You girls are not going to go to Heston. You're going to go to Goshen. It's too far to take you to Goshen." He never thought that we would have a car to drive to Heston, that he would take us to Goshen. So that's where I went, was to Goshen College. But in high school home ec, those 4 years, I learned all kinds of new ways of cooking and sewing, and because Mom taught us how to do some cooking, but you know, it was just old German type cooking that her mother had taught her, and cooking from the garden and like that. Well, we just learned to yeast breads and candy, and I don't know what all we learned to cook there, but it was just a whole different way of doing things. We would often have a student teacher come to the home ec class, and she would be from the University of Illinois. And so it would change every semester or every year. I don't remember if we had one or two every year. But so one year we made Easter hats. And so we had a little frame, and then we took cloth and glue it down. Well, the glue that I used wasn't a good glue. I mean, that's what we had. But you could see the stain of the glue with the cloth that I had. I guess I didn't have a dark enough cloth to hide that. But anyway, I learned to do all kinds of things like that. Then in my senior year, my dad and mom were planning to move from the farm, and Dad was building a house close to where his cinder gas business was in Gibson City. Well, so they settled on this floor plan to build this house, a 3-bedroom house, but it didn't have a basement, the floor plan. And Mom said, I have to have a basement. So I found out that in the high school home ec, I could take this floor plan and redo the measurements and like this, so that the kitchen, off of the kitchen, in from the main back door of the carport door, we put a doorway, and then they had this stairway going down there. Well, I got credit for doing all that because I put it out on the graph paper and got extra credit in home ec class for that. And my student teacher, she just couldn't get over because I did a good job. And my dad was...
They had a basement?
They had a basement, and yeah.
I don't remember going down the basement.
Mom had trouble with that basement for a number of years, that the water would sort of seep into the side.
Yeah.
And so she'd try this, and then she'd try that, and finally they found some kind of a rubberized paint or something, and maybe extra digging, I don't know, but she got that problem solved. But she had an extra extra bedroom down in that basement, and then a long room where we could have games and stuff like that. But yeah. So anyway,
but down in that basement was a bedroom.
Yeah.
And when I came to see my girlfriend, that's where I was put.
As far away as they could get you, huh?
But there was a bathroom in the basement too.
Yeah,
Was there?
Yeah.
But when she went to bed and I went downstairs to go to bed, she'd go and sit on the toilet, and I could hear her peeing.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes, at least a couple of different times, why it would be Marlene's boyfriend Jerry Kaufman, Mary Jo's boyfriend Wes Oswald, and Wilda's boyfriend. By that time they were probably engaged, but so it'd be like 4 boys coming to visit these girls. And so one time I remember we decided we were going to pull a trick on them, we girls out in the kitchen. It was time to have a snack or something. So we had little tiny shot glasses that we get from the gas station as a extra when you buy gas. And so we put ginger ale in these little shot glasses and brought them in to the boys when they were in the living room sitting there waiting. And I remember Bob especially, but they all, what are you feeding us? Because it was clear, you know, they didn't know if it was liquor or not. And anyway, it was funny. I don't know if we had to tell them before they took their first sip or not. Do you remember that?
I remember getting those glasses, but I don't know who took the first sip.
I don't know either. But anyway, that was, we thought that was, it was fun.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
We were being misled.
We just had all kinds of ways to have fun, yeah, yeah. One of the things that you suggested that we might think about was a surprise that we had in our lifetime. Well, I suppose the first big surprise that I had that I can think of that was a big surprise at least was the time when I was roasting a goose, and we had Don's parents and the whole family, his siblings, come over, I think a New Year's or over a holiday anyway. So I decided we were going to have a roast goose. Never did one before that. But my mother had fixed all different kinds of poultry and whatever. So, you know, I got this goose and I put it in the oven and it was all ready to come out. When I went in, they were in the living room. This was in Barberton. And he was telling stories to them or whatever. Anyway, he was talking anyway. But when I went to take it out of the oven, here I saw there was a fire in the bottom of the stove. And so I quick turned off the gas, the oven, and then, but the fire was still there. And here this goose had so much fat to it that the fat went over the side and down, and that's what caught fire. Well, I knew enough. He was a volunteer fireman before that in Beaver Dam, and so we always had a fire extinguisher around, and he said, you know, that if you don't aim it right, well, you waste your stuff from your from the fire extinguisher. And so I decided, well, I wasn't going to bother with it because I was all worked up about this and I didn't know too much about the fire extinguisher. So I went into the living room and I goes up to him and I says, Don, I need you in the kitchen. And he didn't think it was any emergency, so he just kept on talking. So I went back the third time to tell him, and finally then he decided, she's serious. He's got to come and see. Well, he came and he took that fire extinguisher and just boop, boop, and it was all done.
So it didn't wreck the dinner?
It did not wreck the dinner at all.
Okay.
And so everybody sort of laughed and but that was my first big surprise. Before that, when I was just a little kid, and I don't know, I don't think I would have been in school yet. We were out, and my brothers were out with us, at least some of them, and out by the truck patch, which was across the road at the edge of one of the fields. And so you had a wide area, but real long. But at the first part of this, before the truck patch, there was this electric fence where they had cattle. Calves are like that, young cattle. But the cattle wasn't right up to the fence at all. They were down in another part. But anyway, one of my brothers, and I think it was Eldon, said, Vietta, come here and touch this fence and you'll get a little tingle. And I didn't know, and I did. And I grabbed both hands on that electric fence, and I could not release the grip on that fence. I mean, it just was that way. And he finally came, and after laughing just a little bit, and came and released my fingers from that. So I learned never, never, never touch an electric fence.
Oh, I thought you were going to say never trust your brother.
Oh. Well, he helped me get loose, so.
He did, but he
Where
told you to
was
do it.
this?
What?
Where was this?
Across the road from the house.
Across where?
From your old farm?
On the old farm.
Oh, it was in Illinois.
Oh yeah, in Illinois. I was just, maybe 4 years old or something like that. 5 years old. Because I didn't go to first grade yet. Anyway.
I was thinking about, didn't Grandma Nofziger not like our water in Barberton?
Oh yes, that's a good story.
What's that?
Grandma Nofziger didn't like our water in Barberton?
Oh,
She didn't like city water. They had a good well water on the farm. And it was a good well water. Deep. And I don't know if they ever got it tested or not, but anyway, it was good water. She knew, they had come one time and she knew that she didn't like the taste of the city water in Barberton. So the next time they came, and I know that at least Marlene was with them, and maybe, I don't know if Milton or some of the others were with them or not, but anyway, but Grandma, she decided she was going to bring her good well water from Ohio, from Archbold to Barberton, Ohio, where we lived. And so when they went to get her water jug out of the trunk, his dad, Dennis, started laughing, and here they had not put the lid on tight, and so all the water seeped out of this gallon jug. And so she, I don't know if she drank juice or what she drank, but she didn't have her good well water. So then the next time when we went to, which was, a few months later, we went to Archbold to visit, Sylvia decided, I don't like Grandma's water, and I'm going to take my good city water to Archbold. And so we took and made sure that the water, the thing was on real tight, and so we had another big laugh, and his dad, Dennis, just thought this was hilarious.
I didn't remember Sylvia did
But
that.
Sylvia was the one that was always thinking about stuff of having a good time and getting a good one back on Grandma.